Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to East Hull to find out about a dog rescue centre's potential closure if funds are not found. We head to Grimsby Minster for reflections with the Reverend Catherine Price. And my guests tonight are Richard Gorton and Francesca Turton from One Off Productions, here to talk about their production of White Christmas.
Scunthorpe Steelworks could be sold. In an article in a national newspaper, it's speculated a number of bidders were interested, or there could be a management buyout. It's understood the government are trying to entice buyers with offers of major rail contracts. Residents are being asked for their views on what more Grimsby Minster could do to support the community. As part of a public consultation for potential future development, the Square Roots Roadshow will be visiting local community centres as well as holding meetings within the church. We spoke to Reverend Canon Andrew Dodd.
We're really proud of. But it's all very well thinking that we've got a good idea and carrying it out, but we need to really test that and find out, is this actually serving the needs of the community here? Everybody's interested in trying to find funding for various projects, but for me what's really important is how we use the people and our volunteers here in our churches and the partnerships and networks that we have, and how we really use those to the best. And of course, how we use this building here, Grimsby Minster, which we want to be open and available to the public to use for our projects, but also as we think about the future of other buildings, perhaps what we do with the rebuilt St James's House, for example.
The public have been able to put their questions to Network Rail in Brigg. The Meet the Manager event allowed people to raise concerns or queries from train times to the state of the station. The Friends of Brigg and Lincoln Rail Line that helped organise the event say it's important that rural communities are able to give their views.
Yes, I do. I think, like I said, it's never happened before, so obviously, you know, it gets the local community involved and it makes them feel obviously a part of the railway again. I think after a long time, you know, they can put feedback that they want to put forward.
November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month and a Brigg shop has been working to raise the profile of the disease. County Foods hosted a bake sale with all funds going to charity. Fundraiser Andrew Markham says it's vital people are aware of the signs if lives are to be saved.
It is the 5th biggest cancer killer of all the UK deaths from cancer. It only receives 1% of the cancer research funding budget, and the prognosis is for people who get diagnosed with it is very, very poor. Only 1 in 4 people, only 1 in 5 people survive beyond 4 or 5 years.
And that's all from the news.
On the run-up to Christmas, animal rescue centres find themselves inundated with unwanted creatures. Looking after them takes money, and running a centre is entirely based on charitable donations. Sadly, many struggle, and one East Hull Dog Rescue Centre is facing financial problems. Dave Nunn went to meet the team.
It's a centre that looks after abandoned and mistreated dogs, rehoming 170 dogs in 2013. But now the future of this vital service is under threat as the Oakwood Canine Rescue Service Centre faces permanent closure.
We are, unfortunately, yes. We've been running since 2009 and it's always been a financial struggle trying to make ends meet each month, but it's really come to a head this year where the money is just not coming in as quick as the bills. So I've been faced, unfortunately, to have to make the decision as the founder and trustee that financially, if we don't manage to secure financial stability by the end of the year, we can't continue.
Like most similar centres, Oakwood is a charitable organisation and relies on donations from the public to make it from month to month. The centre needs £2,000 a month to meet expenses including rent and bills. The volunteers normally take to the streets to collect donations, but they haven't been able to for a few months, making an already tight financial situation even worse.
Every weekend we go out and do street collections, usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in order to pay the bills that have already come in the previous week. However, due to a lack of regular support, we've not been able to do any street collections since the end of September, and that's left us with very little money coming in month on month.
For Jill, the decision to close if money cannot be found is a heartbreaking decision after all the time and effort she has put into building the centre's reputation.
It was a very, very tough decision. Yeah, there's a lot of people involved in the rescue that needed to be considered, myself included, and obviously the dogs. So it wasn't an easy decision, and it's something I've been up and down with probably for the last 18 months, if I'm being honest. But I've just tried to get my head down, plough through and just keep fighting. But it just got to the stage where emotionally I just didn't have the strength to continue to keep fighting anymore.
Luckily, the one silver lining is that even if the centre does close, the dogs won't be in any danger. Another rescue centre has already agreed to take the dogs at Oakwood if the centre has to close, putting to bed rumours started on Facebook that the dogs will be put to sleep.
Well, there have been some rumours going round on Facebook that apparently we're having all the dogs put to sleep. Now, I'm not 100% sure where this rumour has come from, because that could not be further from the truth. We have a lot of rescue contacts, and there's already a local rescue that have said they'll step in and take the dogs, so that the dogs, people do not need to be concerned about the dogs if we close. Absolutely, the dogs that we've got in will be fine. However, over the last 6 years, we've rehomed over 500 dogs, and those dogs wouldn't have been fine had we not been here. So it's looking at the dogs we could have potentially helped going forward were we not in this situation.
All Jill can do is wait to see if the generosity of the public can save the centre.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, it's time for another weekly reflections, and we'll have all the latest sports news and results. White Christmas is being performed for the first time at Hull New Theatre by local group One-Off Productions. Joining me are Richard Gordon and Francesca Turton to tell us more about it. Richard, Francesca, thank you very much for coming in.
Hello, Hugh.
Hello.
First of all, when's the production happening? When are you performing?
Starts tomorrow night.
17th to the 21st.
17th to the 21st of November. Matinee on Saturday?
Yes, matinee on Saturday.
What time should people turn up to the theatre?
7 o'clock.
Well, for the matinee on the Saturday, 2 o'clock, and then there's another performance at 7 o'clock, but all the other nights are 7:30.
And where can people buy tickets?
Well, they can phone the box office on 01482 300 300, or they can go into the new theatre, which is in Kingston Square in the centre of Hull, and just go to the theatre itself and book tickets there.
Now, this is a performance or a play or a musical that we're all familiar with, but we're all familiar with a film, Francesca. You've seen the film, have you?
Yes, I have.
What happens? What's the story? Because I confess I never have. I've only ever seen clips of it with Bing Crosby singing that song.
Well, the main plot is there's Private Phil Davis and Corporal Bob Wallace, and they are army buddies. They're in the army together. And then after the war is over, they start a duo and singing and that kind of thing. And they go to a nightclub where they meet Betty and Judy Haynes, who are also doing a duo but sisters, a sister act. And they all decide to travel up to Vermont, where they happen to meet the general from Bob and Phil's army days.
And that's you, Richard.
That's
played
Richard.
by myself, yes.
And apparently he runs an inn, and the inn is facing closure because they haven't got enough funds and that kind of thing. So they decided to put on a play to bring more people in.
And there is a certain amount of singing involved in this. Any songs you might have heard of before, Richard?
There's one or two. I mean, obviously there's the very famous title song, which was originally sung by Bing Crosby. So White Christmas, everybody knows that song. But there's also the duet that the sisters sing, that they sing Sisters, which is another fabulously well-known Irving Berlin song. Massive, fantastic tap routine numbers. So yeah. Blue Skies, I Love a Piano. They're all songs that people perhaps don't know, but once they hear them, they'll recognise them. They're all synonymous with Irving Berlin, really. So. And
you're playing the general, who's the man who owns the inn that these people are going to save by putting the show on right here at the inn. Yes. Who are you playing, Francesca? I'm playing Susan Waverley, which is the general's 10-year-old granddaughter. And that's not so far off your own age. Not really, only 2 years. You're 12? Yes. Aren't you? I won't ask you how old you are, Richard. It's a big production, though. It's all singing, all dancing. Huge cast. Huge dance numbers. I think there's about 65 in the cast. And I say 65 in the cast. And I say most of them all singing, all dancing,
all got the tap shoes on, so
Yes.
massive production numbers.
It's a very American film, as you said, Francesca.
Oh,
It's
yes.
set in Vermont.
Set in Vermont.
And yet I think it's universal, isn't it? What is it that we all, the film anyway, we're familiar with. We'll talk about the history of the show later, but why is it that we all love it so much?
I think it's because it's quite a heartwarming tale, and it's also quite a funny play and film as well, so people remember it for the comedy.
What, there are jokes in it, are there?
Oh yes.
It's good. Okay. How long has this company been going, your theatre group?
It's been going for, I would say, at least 10 years now. I mean, we do one production at least a year, so I'm trying to think how many there's been now. I think there's been probably about 10 productions now, so yeah.
And about this time of year, it tends to be a Christmassy production?
Not really, no. We've done everything from The Wizard of Oz to...
King
That's
and I.
Christmassy.
Yeah,
King and
well,
I is
absolutely.
King and I was last
King
year.
and I. What else? Witches of Eastwick.
These are all very Christmassy. The next thing you're going to tell me you're doing The Great Escape.
That'd be brilliant.
It
Great
would
Escape, the
It
musical.
would be fantastic. Sort of empty stage at the end. Come back after the break. We'll talk more about your production. Join me then when the Reverend Catherine Price of Grimsby Minster will bring us today's reflections, and we'll have all the latest local sports news and results. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Grimsby Minster for reflections, and we'll bring you the latest local sports news and results. Still with me are Richard Gorton and Francesca Turton talking about White Christmas. Francesca, you're a bit of a veteran actress, aren't you? What have you done before?
Well, recently this year I played Blousy Brown in Bugsy Malone, also at the Whole New Theatre.
Splurge guns?
Yes, splurge guns and lots of mess.
And lots of mess, that's always
Cream
good.
pies, that kind of thing.
You've won an award.
Yes, I have. Last year I won an award in the Hollywood Women's Independent Film Festival.
That's fantastic. Did you have to go to Hollywood to go and pick up your...
No, they just sent me a certificate. There was no proper award for it.
It's like sitting next to Judi Dench. Richard, what's the history of the play of White Christmas? Because the play is younger than the film, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the film White Christmas was originally based on the film Holiday Inn before that. I think White Christmas kind of became synonymous with the song that Bing Crosby sung. And when it first came out, the critics weren't overly favourable of it, but because it became an institution of Christmas and what people thought about Christmas, it just gained in popularity. And as I say, everybody now knows the main title song. So.
Well, you, as the General, don't get the chance to sing the title song.
I do.
You do?
I do.
3 lines of it.
I do it unaccompanied at the beginning. It's set in World War II originally, and I do sing to my troops. So I do sing a couple of lines of White Christmas, and then at the end of the show as well, I get to sing it.
Was it common practice in the American Armed Forces during the Second World War for general officers to sing to their troops?
Well, anything to boost morale for the troops, because I've got such a fabulous voice that it warms the cockles and the heart.
I tell you what, an Air Force officer in the Second World War, American Air Force, was Glenn Miller. No, not Glenn Miller, James Stewart.
Yes.
He was a pretty good performer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's necessary, Francesca, in any production of White Christmas for there to be a certain amount of whiteness.
Yes.
Have you got snow?
Yes, we have. We've got lots of fake snow ready to pelt the audience at
Really?
the end.
What's a snowball fight in the second act?
Unfortunately not, although that would be very fun.
Okay. What other plans has your company got? What's coming up later in the year or in the new year?
Well, the new theatre will be closing for the Year of Culture, so they're doing it up. So there won't be anything in the immediate future, but hopefully hopefully with the success of this show, we'll go from strength to strength, and we'll see what comes up.
And you both intend to stay on with drama, because I know you're a very skilled actress, clearly, Francesca. You've got dramatic connections yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing theatre for many years, too many years to mention. So I'll leave it up to the youngsters, to the up and comers, to take my spot off the throne.
And amateur theatre is incredibly healthy in this region, isn't it? I mean, there are lots of companies, always productions coming up. Now then, just remind me, give me the dates again, Francesca. When can people see this performance?
17th to the 21st, starting tomorrow.
At the New Theatre in Kingston Square in Hull.
Yes.
And tickets available from the box office. Phone, I'll just give the number, 01482 300 300. I hope you get a wonderful audience. I know it'll be a fantastic show. Both of you, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the weekly reflections, and this week it's the Reverend Catherine Price from Grimsby Minster.
This week sees 2 days dedicated to commemorating evil. Last Saturday we had Halloween, a light-hearted festival when children dress up as scary characters and enjoy being frightened in a way which is safe and fun. This Thursday we remember something more serious: gunpowder, treason and plot. We remember how nearly the home of our democracy was destroyed by terrorists. But we also remember how the fear of terrorism can threaten to destroy our values. Guy Fawkes was brutally tortured, even though, contrary to what you might imagine, torture was not common or widely accepted in England at the time. One of the reasons Halloween is so popular is the same reason that people enjoy scary films or crime dramas and murder mysteries, making entertainment out of something that would be terrifying in real life. We know in reality that evil does not advertise itself with a green hook-nosed mask, and that it won't leave you alone if you give it a sweetie. But it gives us a safe space to explore our very real fears about very real threats in the world. Dealing with fear in the right way is important, because fear that's not dealt with becomes in itself a dangerous threat. The gunpowder plot only served to reinforce the demonisation of English Catholics, and we see something similar today as the government reacts to the threat of terrorism by labelling as extremists and potential terrorists those with controversial religious views. Perhaps we need to remember that one of the things we have most to fear is fear itself.
And Emma Lingard joins me now for a perspective on some of the weekend's news. Emma.
Yes, and unfortunately I'm going to start with the horrific news about Paris. The Grimsby Islamic Association of South Humberside have issued a statement today to express their sadness at the attack, which has obviously claimed over 129 lives, condemning the attack, saying these people aren't Muslims because the Quran doesn't preach that, you know, you kill people. And it was a similar sentiment echoed by the Bangladesh Cultural Society in Cleethorpes as well. They condemn what they saw. And I find this, you know, while on Friday night I was obviously dancing on stage in the Bollywood event at Communities Together. Yes. There we were, people from all religions, all backgrounds, enjoying food and entertainment while the atrocities in Paris were going on. And you just think, why? You know, why do people have to do such a thing? And like the guys, you know, from the Muslim groups in the area saying that these people cannot call themselves Muslims at the end of the day because it's not what their religion preaches.
No, it was very strange to think that you were dancing. I was sitting in a pub laughing with my friends, and this appalling event was taking place not all that very many miles away.
No, and on the Saturday I was invited to the Diwali event by the Hindu Cultural Society in Grimsby, and there at the start of that we did a minute silence for all those that lost their lives. But again there, you know, as we're talking to people, not understanding
I think there was a well-respected minute's silence this morning as well, wasn't
there? There was,
yes. Throughout the country, probably throughout Europe.
Exactly. But I think, you know, there is obviously on the streets in this area, the police have upped their patrols, haven't they, in light of, you know, another attack. But I think the message is we carry on living our lives. You can't stop. living, can you? You've got to prove to them that
that's very much
they
what
can't terrorise.
The French have said, that we will not
Exactly.
live in fear. That's been their attitude, and I think that's the attitude certainly
is.
throughout our region and probably
It
throughout
is,
the whole
sadly.
country as well.
Yes, united together, I think, isn't it?
Indeed,
really?
yes. Nous sommes tout Paris. Yeah.
Yes. So, next story is pay rises, MPs. Andrew Percy has been identified as one of 25 out of 650 MPs who have given their £7,000 pay rise to charity. He's not declared which charity has benefited from his philanthropy. And this is an article in the Scunthorpe Telegraph. Nick Dakin, who's the MP for Scunthorpe, didn't. And Martin Vickers, who as well as being the MP for Barton is also for Cleethorpes, he was unavailable for comment. Now, I've not looked, to be honest, because I haven't found it reported anywhere else in our local media what the other MPs did.
Andrew Percy, of course, MP for Brigg and Goole.
He is, yes. So I don't know what the Hull MPs did.
No.
Or the East Yorkshire MPs.
Well,
or what Melanie Young did.
With a bit of chance, with a bit of luck, we'll have a chance to ask them.
We can find out, can't we? And we've got time for another
very
quick one.
quickly, 10 seconds.
This one I'm going to get the guys to look into. Pampered Pooches in East Yorkshire. A dog kennel has just installed DAB radios, DVD players and USB ports in their kennels for the dogs to listen to.
I'm not surprised. My dogs insist on watching
and a
S3
creche and a
TV.
water park.
They live the life, don't they? Emma, thank you very much. Time now for the sport.
And in sport, the Mariners completed their third win in a week on Saturday, beating Welling 3-1 at Blundell Park. Paul Hurst's side are now fourth in the National League table. Reflecting on the victory, Grimsby Town's boss told the Grimsby Telegraph he could see no reason why the momentum cannot be maintained. Scunthorpe boss Mark Robbins says his side was simply not good enough after losing 2-1 to Swindon Town. Despite setbacks with injuries and awful weather conditions, Robbins says the team should have done better. North Thurby United won 3-0 to Curzon Ashton, moving them to fourth in the National League. And in rugby, Scunthorpe RUFC won away 17-14 over Sandbach. Again, despite terrible weather conditions and a delay to the start when the referee got stuck in traffic, the Greens did well to fight back. And some tragic news, a talented young rugby league player and his friend were killed following a crash in Holderness. Hull FC under-19 player Bradley Parker died after the car he was in collided with a Land Rover on Sunday. Mr Parker was a former England under-16s captain. And that's all from the sport. Goodbye.
That's all for tonight. If you've a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31 553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. A dry start for Tuesday with some bright spells. Late morning could see cloud thickening with some local heavy rain spreading across the region, becoming quite windy and a maximum temperature of 10 degrees. Remaining unsettled for Wednesday with spells of rain or showers.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.